I'm Angeline Saris, and you are watching for BassPlayersOnly.com.
Hi everyone, John Liebman here. You're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com. We're coming to you today on location from the Warwick booth at the 2019 Winter NAMM Show with our old friend Angeline Saris. Hello again, Angeline.
Why, hello.
We know a lot about you. They know a lot about you. This is, believe it or not, I think this is the fourth time we've done an interview with you, and you're in good company. I think Billy Sheehan, who we're going to interview tomorrow, and maybe one or two others, but we have been around just about 10 years, and we don't do a follow-up just for the sake of follow-up. In your case, especially, there's big-time far-out news to talk about, and I'll just turn it over to you. I know you've got a few things that you're very excited about, so tell the people what's going on.
Okay, well, the first thing I'm pretty excited about is I have a new album out. It's my first. It's a collaboration with my friend Lex Razone, who's a drummer, and we pulled together a band, a kind of collective of musicians from the Bay, and we put out an album. It's called Tight Lips, and the name of the band is Angeline. So we're starting to gig it, we're playing shows, and 2 years of work.
One of the perks of my job, I got a sneak preview of the album. I've listened to it, and it is a lot of fun. And I found myself singing, even when I wasn't listening to it. I was off doing something else and singing. What is it? There's a party going? What?
Yes, there's a party tonight. I think that's called Tight Lips. That's the title track.
Yes,
yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
What else can you tell us about the record?
Well, I would say that it definitely falls in like the funk kind of jazz genre of music, but that it's pretty mixed, as you heard. It's like there's a rock track, there's kind of a more vibey jazz track, there's just it's all across the board, and we didn't try and just fit it into a box like, oh, we're gonna make a funk album. We just did what we wanted to do creatively, and I think I like that approach. So
yeah. Well, good. And again, it's called Tight Lips is the name of the album. Angeline is the name of the ensemble of the band, right? The duo?
Exactly,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. What else is going on?
Well, I have a brand new electric upright bass that I got to design, a Triumph Warwick, and it's gorgeous. I love it. It's got these two orange stripes, which I love classic cars and like super sport models, and the super sports have the two stripes, so I modeled it after that, and I wasn't sure I was going to come out, and then it arrived, and I was like, yes.
Tell me a little bit about the rest of your gear. There's strings and amps and things like that.
Yeah, well, besides the Warwick Triumph Electric Upright, I'm playing GHS strings. I've been playing their strings for, I think, 7 or 8 years now. Mostly the boomers, but some flat wounds, and then my amplification is Fender, so I have a 300-watt head and the Rumble series, neodymium cabs, and then my electric basses are mostly all Fender Jazz, Fender P. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good choices.
Excellent choices, in my opinion. I'm super happy.
I've been to the Warwick facility, factory, 3 times over in Magneukirchen, Germany. I've never said it the same way twice. I may have stumbled across 1 or maybe 2 uprights, but that does not seem to be the thrust of what Warwick does. So how did it come to be that they made an upright bass for you?
Well, I needed one, and I had been teaching at the camp. I taught 1 year, and I had gone to the camp a couple times, the base camp in Germany, and
I remember.
Yeah, I think that was the last time I saw you.
We were talking about John Bonham versus Jimmy Page, and the song that's kind of in time but out of time. Was it Black Dog or Rock and Roll? Okay, from Led Zeppelin 4. I remember sitting on the floor in my bedroom when I was like 13, 14. I'm going, what is he doing?
What's going on here? Yeah, I remember you pointed out something that nobody's ever pointed out, that when I pluck with my right hand, my fingers stay more straight. I never noticed that. You were the first person to bring it to my attention.
I notice things that bass players do.
Yeah. So anyway, the upright, yeah, I needed one, and obviously they have a history. I believe they're the first company to have ever made the electric upright. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. And Ralph Armstrong has one, and we were chatting, and it just seemed like a really obvious.
Who did most of the talking in that conversation?
No comment.
I love you, Ralph.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, speaking of, Ralph played with Narda back in the day, and that was the third thing I wanted to bring up, was that Narda has a new album coming out, Narda Michael Walden, called Immortality, and I got to play on that. It's coming out this spring, and we're going to be touring it, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, do you know where all you're going to be touring, in case some folks want to come by and see you, which they should if they have the opportunity?
I wish I did. Narda's kind of keeping it under wraps right now, and I'm trying to get some information out of him, but for now he's like, we're just going to finish the album, and then we'll do that.
So in other words, you don't know where you're going.
I don't know where I'm going, but I'll see you there. Yeah.
Okay. What about after all that? Is there something else? I mean, when you made a record, did you say, we should have put this on, or maybe not so much that, but this was fun, I can see doing this again, let's do that again, but maybe we'll do this, or we'll do this, or we'll do some surprises, or you're nodding, so you have another record percolating up here?
Yeah, I do. Actually, we're getting back into the studio. We already have a date booked at this beautiful studio, 25th Street in Oakland, and that was the first album I had ever put out as a solo artist or as a collaborative project.
It's about time.
Yeah, I know, right? So I learned a lot. There were some really great parts about it, things that I'm like, I'm really proud of that, and parts where I'm like, I would do this differently next time. And so I'm looking forward to sort of just putting another one out, growing, getting back in, and kind of crafting my own voice more, because I think when you're a bass player and you back up other people all the time, you're always trying to support their voice, their artistic vision. And
it's kind of in our DNA as bass players.
It is. We're supporters, and I love it. I'm okay with that role, but it's really neat to sort of craft your own voice and see what that sounds like. And mine is, it's still sort of embryonic, I guess you could say, in some ways, but it's building, and I know that I want to get back in, and I want to get kind of weird. Like, as we just saw Juan Alderete over at the Earthquaker Devices, and he's just got all these pedals, and I feel like with my own project I have a ton of pedals and all different sounds, and I'd like to get kind of weird. I'm ready to really kind of, have fun. So yeah.
Right. How is the scene up there in Oakland, San Francisco, up there in the Bay Area? There's a lot of rich musical heritage and history up there. What's going on up there now?
Well, it's sort of interesting. I would say Marin and the East Bay, like Oakland and Berkeley, still have a lot of musical vibe and energy. Like East Bay, there's the gospel, there's funk, there's just a lot of really like the stankiest of the stanky funk, coming from Oakland. And then in Marin, we have, like you said, rich musical heritage, people like Santana, Bonnie Raitt, Grateful Dead, all that. So I think it's very alive and well. San Francisco, unfortunately, has kind of changed a lot because of the tech influence there. So there's like a lot of live music venues are closing down. I mean, there's still a handful and there's places to play, but it doesn't feel quite as rich as Marin and the East Bay right now to me personally.
Are there, generally speaking, different camps? Are there the Oakland people and the San Francisco people? And actually where I'm coming from is not so much musically based, but Oakland Raiders are moving to Las Vegas, all right? So I can't imagine the Oakland fans all of a sudden becoming 49ers fans. That doesn't really, so what's going to be, Angeline? What can you tell us about that? Are there different camps? Are there Oakland people and San Francisco people?
Yes and no. There kind of are, and there's a running joke about it a little bit, but we're trying to fuse that a little more. In fact, I have a friend, we're talking about starting a project called Red Rock Island, because that's the island that is kind of right in the middle underneath the bridge that connects the East Bay to Marin. And we're talking about trying to fuse that a little more. I mean, I play in projects with people all over. Like I was just at Ojai last week with people from the East Bay and Marin, but
it's kind of like LA and Orange County kind of thing, probably.
Exactly, yeah. So like I said, yes and no. There are definitely, it's a community, in its best state, it's a big community, and everyone supports and loves each other. But there's the joke that people never cross bridges, and everyone kind of stays in their little trifecta, so, yeah.
Okay. Never know what kinds of interesting things will come up when we get together to talk, but let's do it again. Maybe you'll be the first one to be interviewed 5 times on ForBassPlayersOnly.com, but you have to have big-time, far-out stuff to talk about. So get busy. Get busier.
I will. I'm right on it. Right on it. Right. Thank you for having me again. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Keep us posted on the next project and whatever else you're doing, and the touring information and whatever else we need to know about where you're going to be and what you're up to. and we'll share it with these nice people here. On location at the Warwick booth at the 2019 Winter NAMM show in Anaheim, California, with our good friend, the very busy and energized Angeline Saris. I'm John Liebman. You're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com.